Yes? Have you come with questions?
Welcome back, Fanfield family. I've got a very special video for you today. A longtime viewer and frequent commenter has once more requested a topic, and once again they hit it out of the park with this suggestion. On my Firaxa video, go watch that if you haven't seen it already, there's a card on screen and there's some never-before-seen footage of the creatures. Jeremy Viviana Griffin 9458 requested that I talk about Emperor Palpatine's secret children and his consort Sly Moore. I'm going to do that and more. There's a lot to get into with Palpatine's private life, and we'll take a look at all of it. So the first question we have to answer is why anyone would want to have any kind of intimacy, let alone a child, with, well, this.
Oh my god, I look like I have a scrotum for a face!
Well, it comes down to the position Sidious held. He was, after all, the emperor of the entire galaxy. He had... He ruled everything that the galaxy knew. He had infinite resources, could do anything. To many people, especially in the dark times of the Empire, that was
basically kind of a big deal.
So we're dealing with two separate timelines here, legends and canon. Let's talk about Disney canon first, since it's simpler and a little less ambiguous. In canon, Sidious is only known to have one child, and I'm putting the word child in industrial strength air quotes. Dathan, Palpatine's son, was actually a strand cast, meaning he was a genetically engineered clone of Sidious. This is different from direct cloning, like what we saw with Jango and Boba Fett. Boba was a direct, unmodified clone of Jango. Strand casting is effectively taking a base gene sample, in this case Palpatine's, and weaving in bits of other genetic samples in order to give the resultant creation additional traits. Because of this, strand casting has a very low success rate. It was even more difficult to strand cast a subject that was Force sensitive. Snoke was a successful strand cast in that he survived and was powerful in the Force, but he had physical aberrations. The Sith Eternal, cultists on Exegol, genetically engineered Dathan in an effort to provide a vessel for Darth Sidious to transfer his spirit into. Go take a look at my video on Darkside Force powers to learn more about essence transfer. However, Dathan was not strong in the Force. He was deemed a failure and was given the name of the Abomination by the cultists. Sidious regarded Dathan with disgust because of his lack of Force power, calling him a useless creature. However, he permitted Dathan to live because his excellent health provided an opportunity to continue the Palpatine bloodline. Dathan equally despised Sidious, born mostly out of Sidious's neglect, and he fled Exegol in hopes of having a life without Sidious. He married a woman named Miramir, and around 15 years after the events of A New Hope, they had a child named Rey. When Rey was 6, Sidious learned of her and her incredible potential in the Force, and he sent Ochi of Bestoon, an assassin, to eliminate Dathan and bring Rey to him as a viable host for his spirit. Of course, as we all know, Rey ultimately became the undoing of Sidious when she stood against him on Exegol. Alongside Ben Skywalker, formerly Kylo Ren, she turned the Dark Lord's Force lightning back on him and finally eradicated Sidious. Well, at least until Disney runs out of ideas and brings him back again. Her final rejection of Sidious came in that much maligned final scene of Rise of Skywalker.
Who are you?
I'm Rey.
Rey who?
Rey Skywalker.
I don't hate this as much as a lot of people seem to. I think it's actually a bit poetic. It's Rey not letting her destiny be decided by her birth. She's choosing the path of the Jedi, accepting the mantle that Luke and Leia left. It's not as awesome as,
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
but it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Okay, so let's talk about the Legends version. When Palpatine took the office of Supreme Chancellor, an Umbaran woman, Sly Moore, allegedly blackmailed her way into being Palpatine's advisor. As a Force adept, she was one of the few people privy to the horrifying truth. The kindly Chancellor Palpatine was, in fact, the evil Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Sidious. She was almost always by Sidious's side, his constant companion, and this faithful companionship led some, especially gossip vids, basically tabloids, to speculate that Sly Moore was Sidious's lover as well. This led to her earning the nickname of the Queen of the Empire. As a dark disciple of Sidious, she experimented with Plagueis' studies into the creation of life through the Force, ultimately leading to her bearing a child, a three-eyed mutant named Triclops.
Oh my god, it's a baby! A human baby!
While Triclops himself claimed that he was the son of Palpatine, this is dubious at best. While it is possible that the gene sample that Moore experimented with and implanted in herself as a zygote was Palpatine's, it's just as likely that it was some other Force-sensitive's DNA, and Triclops was simply capitalizing on the clout of being the heir to all that Sidious left behind.
F*** off, Triclops!
Triclops himself, appropriate for his name, had 3 eyes, the third of which was on the back of his head. He was imprisoned by the Empire for years in the spice mines of Kessel, and, after falling in love with a former Jedi, Kendalina, joined the Rebel Alliance. Of course, Sidious had more companions than just Sly Moore. There were a few others that bear mentioning. First is Isan Isard. Isan Isard was a cold and calculating Imperial officer and the director of Imperial intelligence. Sidious valued her as a spy and as a ruthlessly loyal agent. She was an extension of his own will. Isard idolized Sidious, and her discussion with Jedi Knight Corran Horn in the novel X-Wing Isard's Revenge speaks volumes. "You loved the Emperor?" Corran Horn asked. "Captain Horn, the surprise in your voice is hardly appropriate. Is it any surprise that I would find myself attracted to the brightest star in the galaxy? I was raised on Imperial Center. I came of age during Palpatine's time. He was immensely charismatic. He could look you in the eyes and touch the person you were. He lived for his dream of a stable galaxy." Her voice took on an edge. "And he died for it." This does sort of imply that her relationship with Sidious may have been more than just professional, that they may have had a physical relationship. I hesitate to say romantic because I personally believe Sidious entirely incapable of understanding love, let alone feeling love. After all, the reason he was killed was because he couldn't fathom that a father's love for his son could be stronger than the call of the dark side and didn't anticipate Vader betraying him. Isan Isard, however, clearly did love Sidious in her own way. Rogonda Ismarin was a former Jedi initiate that survived Order 66. She was captured by Inquisitors and taken to the Imperial Center, Coruscant. She used her Force sensitivity and her beauty to work her way into the Imperial Court. During her time as one of Sidious's concubines, she became pregnant, though Sidious was not the father. She gave birth to Irek Ismarin, who we talked about in one of my earliest videos on every single type of lightsaber. Click the card on screen to check that out. Finally, we've got to talk about the Emperor's hands. While not true consorts of Sidious, they obeyed him without question. They were, as the name suggests, his hands throughout the galaxy, enacting his will. They had a special connection with Sidious as well, and were able to communicate with him telepathically even across thousands of light years. Mara Jade especially felt this connection, and apparently was quite jealous when she learned that she was not the only Emperor's hand. Yeah, I bet you forgot that Mara Jade Skywalker, the wife of Luke Skywalker in Legends, started out as an agent of Darth Sidious. Look, I know the saying that love is blind, but damn! Sidious isn't just ugly on the outside, he's ugly on the inside, a horrible person that only uses others as tools then discards them. He's a cruel, manipulative being, so for me at least, it's hard to imagine anyone sharing any kind of connection with him. So that's all of Sidious's lovers and children. I just want to again shout out Jeremy Viviana Griffin 9458 for requesting this. If you leave a comment, I'll pin it. What do you think about this topic? Is it something you ever wanted to know about? Or would you prefer to wipe this from your mind entirely? Do you think Mara Jade's jealousy upon learning of the other Emperor's hands was at all based in romantic attraction? Is this a hint that the next video will be looking at Mara Jade in depth? No, because next Friday is lightsaber-resistant materials. Thank you so much for watching. I love making videos that you guys want to watch, so leave a comment and subscribe so that you can see when I cover your topic request. While you're down there, drop a like too, it really does help out. If you want to check out a video on the dark side beasts known as Terentatex, click here. Or click here to watch a video on Stormtroopers. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.